Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 700 Club. As we just mentioned, cybercrime around the world expected to cost more than $10 trillion this year. Scams and criminal activities have exploded online.
Well, criminals are exploiting one of the most important new technologies, artificial intelligence, and you could be a target. Dale Hurd reports.
More and more people are getting scammed online.
Recently, my grandpa just got scammed out of his whole life savings.
Just last week, I spoke to somebody who really got scammed.
My wife got victimized in an internet fraud.
AI-enabled crimes are up 456% since last year. Email phishing attacks, identity theft, ransomware attacks, financial scams, and deepfake child pornography are all becoming more sophisticated and prevalent. Artificial intelligence has become the tool of choice for online criminals because it is erasing the line between the real and the fake. Google's newly announced video generator is about to flood the internet with AI-created clips that have the look of expensive films.
None of us is real. We're here because someone decided to write a prompt. We all hate him for it.
AI can take this. Artificial intelligence will supercharge online criminal activity and turn it into this deepfake of me saying whatever someone programs my image to say, and it doesn't have to be true.
I've never seen anything move faster in my lifetime than AI. Not the internet, not crypto, not anything else. And I mean, what we're doing is we're measuring this technology in days.
Former federal prosecutor Ari Redbord is the global head of policy at TRM Labs.
AI has removed the human bottleneck from scams, from cybercrime, and from other types of illicit activity.
America's adversaries are said to be using AI to influence U.S. politics and to steal.
We've seen North Korea. They just stole $1.5 billion in one day to use for weapons proliferation and other destabilizing activity.
Every major American adversary is experimenting with AI.
Leah Siskin is an AI expert at the Foundation for Defensive Democracies.
At the start, the outbreak of the war between Ukraine and Russia was Russia creating deepfakes of Ukrainian President Zelensky surrendering.
It's not very hard to tell that this is a deepfake because at times the voice and facial movements seem unnatural. However, online criminals are already working to fix these kinds of imperfections, says cybersecurity expert Neil O'Farrell.
So if you're looking for those as a way to tell the difference between deepfake and real, you're probably setting a trap for yourself because the bad guys know those are the giveaways. So they're working very, very hard on fixing those telltales.
How can you protect yourself from these scammers? O'Farrell says if you receive a call from a friend or family member claiming to be in trouble and requesting money or personal information, you need to ask questions.
Where are you? What jurisdiction are you in? Could I speak to an arresting officer? Could you hold the phone up, turn on the video, and let me see? I want you, like proof of life. Show me that it is you, and you are where you say you are.
Or choose a unique family code word that's not been sent through the internet, and ask a friend or family member to say it.
Dad, I got into some trouble and I need some money. I need you to go buy a $100 Visa gift card and read me the numbers on the back. Sure. What's the password? Armani?
I'm not continuing this conversation until you give me the code word.
What worries experts is how artificial intelligence learns, and that AI crime is headed toward what's called its mature phase.
So that's when, AI really completely removes the human bottleneck and is essentially doing the scam activity, doing the cyber attacks in a completely automated way.
Former Google CEO Eric Schmidt recently issued an ominous warning about AI accelerating toward artificial superintelligence.
This foundation is being locked in, and we're not going to stop it. Because remember, the computers are now doing self-improvement. They're learning how to plan, and they don't have to listen to us anymore. And this is the theory that there will be computers that are smarter than the sum of humans.
That means law enforcement and governments will need to utilize AI tools now to fight this crime wave, which experts say could quickly become an epidemic.
Wow. All right. Well, Dale is with us now for more on this subject. I hope it's Dale. Dale, I hope it's you. We didn't come up with a password ahead of time.
You'll have to trust me. I don't have proof of life.
We will trust you. How confident are you that law enforcement can handle this AI crime wave?
In the near term, I'm not confident at all. We just learned this week that OpenAI's one of their models, their ChatGPT models they're experimenting with, refused an instruction to shut down and then sabotaged the shutdown mechanism. So this is what we're dealing with. AI is not only a tool for crime, it's faster than an army of criminals. It's more efficient and it learns. And so when you throw roadblocks in front of it, it problem solves until it can find a way around it. I reached a point in my interviews where I asked experts, is this going to render the internet useless because it will be so flooded with deepfakes and fake information and fake scandals? And they said no, but we're going to have to find a way of verifying information.
In a story, your report had so much information. There was a lot to handle. One line caught my ear quickly, and you moved past it. But how did the North Koreans steal $1.5 billion?
They looted a cryptocurrency exchange. They broke into it. And the experts think they used a phishing email to get a password. But this is a cautionary tale for all of us. If you're not storing your money online, your bank has a presence online. And yes, banks are insured. But none of these financial institutions, I think, are as secure as they used to be because of AI.
All right. We're not trying to scare people. We're trying to bring people awareness of what's going on. How concerned should we be that our enemies are using or could use AI against us?
Well, I would hope we're preparing for it because it levels the playing field for a country, let's say, like North Korea, a poor country that can use AI to inflict major damage on us. And I think, in fact, we could reach a point where a major AI attack is viewed as an act of war that might bring a military response. It could do that much damage.
Can this story have a happy ending, so to speak? Can we harness the strength of artificial intelligence without being constantly scammed?
I would hope so. You know, new technology always comes before ethics and law, and we're in the Wild West phase right now, and we need the ethics and law, and we need solutions so that we can trust the internet. But you know, Andrew, when I started this story, I had some skepticism that AI might not be as big as people say it is. Now I think it's in the same club with the inventions of fire, the wheel, gunpowder. It is a major development, and it's going to change the way we live, I think, in a big way, and we're going to have to learn to master it.
And we appreciate you reminding us, be careful with texts we get, emails, phone calls. Keep our guard up. Dale, thank you for your reporting.
Thank you.
All right, Terry, what's next?
Wow, well, that's
sobering.
Very sobering. Well, coming up, pulling a knife, performing lewd acts, assaulting police officers, protesters crashed a Seattle prayer rally. More details from CBN News. That's next. And then also ahead, 16 surgeries before his 16th birthday. This author was once told he could never learn to read or write. Find out how he graduated from college with a GPA of 3.2 and fulfilled his dream of climbing to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro. He's joining us live. That's later on today's show.
Hello, my friend. Pat Boone here. You know our country's under financial assault like never before. Our government has put us $34 trillion in debt. The interest alone's more than we spend on military defense. And what's worse, other countries no longer believe the U.S. is a safe place to invest. There's a growing international movement to dump U.S. dollars at a record pace. Some economists say this may signal the end of the dollar. Now, these countries are instead buying gold, and I'm suggesting you do the same. My friends at Swiss America have been helping Americans like you and me for over 40 years to buy physical gold and silver for delivery to our homes or held in our IRAs. I've trusted Swiss America for nearly 25 years now, and you can trust them too. So don't wait. Call or text the number on your screen today for financial peace of mind. in these troubling times.
Tomorrow, a rap star who went viral.
I'm everything up from the Bronx that loves Jesus.
Angie Rose drops the mic.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Her rise to the top.
You know, I'd go to the clubs and the DJ would spin stuff and I'd start rapping and crowds would form.
After meeting God at a club.
When I look back, I can always see your presence.
On the next 700 Club.
Welcome back to the 700 Club for more top stories from CBN News. The FBI is investigating claims that a group of evangelical Christians were targeted, and the White House is responding after violence at a prayer rally in Washington state over the weekend. The mayor blamed Christians for the turmoil at the event, calling it a, quote, far-right rally after a demonstration at Seattle City Hall this week. CBN's Charlene Aaron has the story.
The prayer rally in Seattle's Cowell Park Saturday quickly turned violent when members from the LGBTQ community and Antifa showed up to protest.
One of them actually pulled a knife and threatened a 17-year-old on our side. And not to mention, while the kids were getting haircuts, there was actually sexually, explicit, lewd acts being done directly in front of the children.
The rally was held in an area with a well-known gay neighborhood at the direction of the city. Ross Johnston, co-leader of the Mayday USA prayer event, tells CBN News they knew there would be protests, but he never expected such violence.
Multiple police officers were assaulted. There was water balloons with urine being thrown. There's 2 people who rushed the stage.
The FBI is looking into charges of attacks on religious believers. Dan Bongino, the FBI's deputy director, wrote on X Tuesday, "We have asked our team to fully investigate allegations of targeted violence against religious groups at the Seattle concert. Freedom of religion isn't a suggestion." And Pastor Paula White Cain spoke out from the White House, saying the White House Faith Office condemns the violent disruption of Seattle's Mayday USA worship event. Public officials must protect the inalienable rights of all citizens, regardless of their faith or religious beliefs. Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
We have more on this story at our website, cbnnews.com. Well, turning now to the international arena, America currently leads the world in biotechnology, but China is gaining ground. And a report warns that the United States must take action or risk falling behind in a field critical to our national security. CBN's Caitlin Burke brings us that story.
Biotechnology is simply technology based on science. The U.S. became top in the field by pioneering advancements in medicine, agriculture, and defense. Now that lead is slipping as China harnesses artificial intelligence to gain an advantage.
The Chinese have been investing in biotech for 2 decades now, and they specifically are focused on solving problems to help their war fighters.
Senator Todd Young, the chairman of the National Security Commission on Emerging Biotechnology, tells CBN News one of the major concerns is Beijing pursuing the weaponization of biotech.
Among the things they're doing is investing in materials that are lighter than ours, in propellants so that their missiles travel further than ours, and even potentially in biological weapons. The United States does not do that, but we certainly need to be prepared to defend against those sorts of contingencies.
Young says it's imperative the U.S. doesn't lose its competitive advantage.
We are in this cat and mouse game that has to be won, and we can only win if we are making the similar sorts of advancements that the Chinese, we have to assume, are also making.
The commission presented its report to Congress last month. Top recommendations include congressional action to make biotechnology a national priority, a $15 billion investment over the next 5 years to bolster domestic biotech research, and finding a way to provide more biodata to innovators.
AI-ready biodata is the currency of the realm for national security purposes, and China has access because they don't have the same privacy laws that we do. They literally take biological data from their people and from other flora and fauna. We need to start building consistent with our own values, a big database of AI-ready biodata.
Senator Young says it's not too late for the U.S. to maintain biotech dominance, as long as Congress doesn't wait to take action.
There are many other issues, admittedly, that are competing for attention right now, whether it's immediate threats overseas or fiscal issues we're dealing with here in the United States, tariff policy. But I've tried to encourage my colleagues to focus on this issue amidst all the other distractions and priorities, because frankly, if we wait much longer, we're going to be behind.
The Commission's report suggests failure by the U.S. to stay ahead would signal a global power shift toward China, handing them both an economic and defense advantage. Caitlin Burke, CBN News, Washington.
All right. Thank you, Caitlin. President Trump says he's warned Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu not to attack Iran's nuclear facilities. As CBN's Chris Mitchell reports from Jerusalem, Trump says he wants to avoid military action while the United States is still negotiating with Iran over the development of nuclear weapons.
President Trump made the statement in the Oval Office.
I told him this would be inappropriate to do right now because we're very close to a solution. Now, that could change at any moment, could change with a phone call. But right now, I think they want to make a deal, and if we can make a deal, save a lot of lives.
The Israelis fear a bad deal that could let Iran keep building nuclear weapons and want a permanent solution, which means destroying Iran's nuclear facilities. But Trump still seems to believe such a violent solution can be avoided.
There are only two outcomes. You know what the two outcomes is: a smart outcome and there's a violent outcome, and I don't think anybody wants to see the second, but I think we've made a lot of progress, and we'll see.
As for the Iranians, one of their top military leaders says the regime is ready to take on and defeat the U.S. if Trump decides on using military force.
We have been accumulating power for years to defeat the world's biggest power. We have always assumed that we will ultimately engage in a battle with a superpower, and we must defeat it.
Here in Israel, in an historic decision, the Knesset voted Wednesday to strengthen the Jewish presence in Judea and Samaria by building 22 new communities. Israel's Defense Minister Israel Katz said the decision anchors our historical right to the land of Israel. And at the Jerusalem prayer breakfast today, Ambassador Mike Huckabee told people from 40 nations about the biblical connection to the land of Israel.
Why is there an Israel? Well, because God promised it, and God keeps his promises. And he's patient in keeping them, but he also gives us warning, and he tells us not to forsake his word or his will. And we come today to remind all of ourselves that should we stand against God or his purpose, we will pay the consequences.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.